Paul Master. What we gotta watch, what we gotta watch, what we gotta watch. Paul Master. What we gotta watch, what we gotta watch, what we gotta watch. Paul Master. What we gotta watch, what we gotta watch, what we gotta watch. Paul Master. What we gotta watch, what we gotta watch, what we gotta watch. Paul Master. What we gotta watch, what we gotta watch. Yeah, buddy, that's right. Get exposure right now. Holler at the homie Paul Mash, man, for Paul Mash TV. Hit up Paul Mash TV across all social media sites, alright? Who we got next? Got next.
Well, hello everybody. It's time for another edition of Paul Mash TV. We're glad that you could join us again today. We got a really great interview coming up in just a moment, but before we do, I just want to thank again everybody for their feedback, and we love hearing from my fans and for people that want to be on the show. And if you'd like to do that, there's a few different ways you can do that. There's a good old-fashioned email, paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And again, whether you're a band or a solo artist or even just a fan, you can use that email address, and we'll love to hear from you, and we'll leave it right back. And also on Facebook, go to facebook.com/PaulMashTV, and feel free to like the page and reply to the posts and videos you see there. We love to hear from you there. And you're probably watching this on YouTube right now, so if you are, just click that subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll always get the latest interviews whenever they're available. And we'll always recap that at the closing credit screen at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. Right now, for the second time on our show, if you remember a couple years back, we had Little Ozzy on the show. Well, we got him back, and he's talking about some of the things that's happened to him since the last time we was on. And he's joined by his guitarist, Johnny Lawrence. And I think you're really going to enjoy this interview, just like you did last time. So we'll get to that in just a second, but first, here's a word from Click Jam. Don't go away.
Does anyone know where Lou is? Anyone? Let's jam.
We're fabulous, nobody's doing for the crushed and the broken hearted. We're fabulous, nobody's doing 'cause we can and we just got started. Come on and bang.
Well, hello, it's interview time again, and with us for a second time, we have Little Ozzy and Johnny Lawrence. Thanks for joining us, guys.
How's it going, Mike?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm glad that you could come back on the show there, Little Ozzy. It's good to have you back. So I know you have a few things that's been going on since we had our last interview. Why don't you tell us about some of them?
Why don't you know what? Did you see any of it online?
I saw a little bit of it, but I'm sure our viewers would want to know about that, so maybe you can tell us personally.
I mean, there's the truth, and then there's two sides.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always three sides to every story, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
But I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was very manipulated. I was bullied by a big drummer. I was set up by a child's mother who was power hungry. I was kicked around, pushed in a corner and very manipulated. I was harassed. I was threatened. I was watching this brilliant young man come into the band that was also young, like the young man that I had in the band. I said young child, not man yet. And he came in, and they would treat him like shit. They would ignore him at shows. They wanted to snuff him out because the ringleader that was in the making of what she would like to have become, was extremely jealous, including her son, because she wanted her son to have the spotlight. And I don't play like that. I play fair. I brought a child in my band and shared a spotlight and put him on a pedestal. Because he had a dream, and it turned out very evil. It turned out to be probably the most evil thing that's ever been done to me in the history of Little Ozzy. He was pushed in the back. He was very humble about it. He did not desire to argue and fight. And we did a show with Firehouse at a theater, which was our last show as a band completely, because, let's see, I was assaulted by the 15-year-old child. I was cursed out. I was talked to very badly. They were very selfish, okay? And to the point where it just became disgusting when a girl that I care about very much, her son was in my band and treated like that out of, there can only be one young man in this band that's good looking and talented, and it's going to be my son. And what she did was she poisoned the rest of the band behind my back. And what they did, they hired a guy out of Florida that was in another Ozzy tribute band behind my back, rehearsed, and called it, I think something like Return to Ozzy's Butthole or something. I can't remember the name. That was back in the day. And, it's amazing, what you sow is what you reap. Because and called me that he came out of and said, you know what, he's not going to last. And then they asked me to become part of their band. So at the time, the young man that assaulted me quit that night. A week before we had a casino show and left me hanging. Then the guy that booked the casino show, that was probably the thief in the middle, that was, and I'm guessing, I'm not accusing him, but I've been in the business long enough to know that when there's a middleman booking a band, he's probably stealing and dipping in a little bit to the funds. And he was another Nashville guy that, I've never had someone call me a week after the band. Here's the story. Here's what happened. The child quit, and the bass player said, well, if he quits, then I'm going too. And then the drummer said, I'll play Mr. Manipulator now, and call him up and accuse him of everything under the sun and tell him that the only way they will do the casino, thinking that I really gave a shit about, you're not going to walk on me and push me around. And, and I'm sorry, it's unfortunate that we missed the casino show for that. But when someone curses me out and assaults me, I will not humble myself, especially with a wicked person in charge there of him, to be in that situation again. Because I could have been arrested. He's a minor. He's backstage at an adult show in pretty much 21 and up venue. It could have caused a lot of problems. So what I was told is, we'll come do the show in the casino. Now, take note here, they already bought plane tickets to this show on their own, thinking they've never flown to a show with me, ever. They were in Nashville to actually rehearse behind my back, I assume, because what they did was they booked all the plane tickets before they quit the band. They said, Lynn, we'll do the show, and I basically said, well, you know what? I don't need any of you because you're all full of shit. Go screw yourself. And I could not pull in 5 days a band together, and I had to not show up at the show, which was a big risk in the business. But the garbage and the BS that was behind it all, my band had a conference with the middle guy in Geneva, the drummer, Redneck Punk. I don't even know that, I get a little angry still thinking about it because, these guys were so manipulative. He had a phone conference with my band, the middleman, and it's like none of their business. They were hired guns. They hated that. It happens to a lot of, they come in the band, they see a little more success. I've been building this for 10 years, okay? When it gets a little bit better, like it's getting even way better than it was the last lineup, I have a vision, okay? And it's going to be really huge, Okay, and I start out with this first year, second year, third year. It grows and grows. It doesn't stop halfway because the Nashville Boys and the Carolina Punk Club comes in and says, "Dude, this is the best lineup you've ever had." Then they start thinking, "We don't need him. We can do it on our own." You know, and they haven't booked a show. I don't even know if they're still together with Ozzy Tribute. You know, they're playing open mics in Nashville, which is probably fun, but, you know, they're playing with a bunch of has-beens. But enough of that, you know, and I'm sure I'll get harassed. But what they did was they built a huge platform of their fans and friends by crucifying me online, lying about me, telling the world that I left them stranded with their plane tickets that they took upon themselves to buy. That's not my problem, you know? And then I'm sure the woman that booked it, that is so thorough with everything in life, including her spreadsheets, probably went on there and probably paid a couple more dollars for insurance in case something happened. Because she's not dumb. She's very intelligent. But, you know, we can use our intelligence for good or we can use our intelligence for evil. And the sad thing about it is I had someone that I thought was my best friend, Terry Hutchins, turned out to be the biggest backstabber. You know, but, you know, I look at the big picture. I've always put God first in this. And I will say that evil never prevails. Not in my life. It never prevails. It never does. He's always there. And if I hadn't gone through this and those guys hadn't have quit, what I'm trying to get to is I believe that our steps are numbered if we give God glory. And when I say numbered, he knows exactly where we're going. He knows when the road's over. And he also knows what we need. Okay? And if I would have still had those guys in this band, I would have, I don't know what would happen. It was driving me crazy. It was miserable. The night I told them goodbye, get out of my life, was the best thing I could ever done. Now I have a bass player that recorded the first album with Paramore. For I Can See Ozzy play with them. It was with Gene Loves Jezebel. I have the best guitarist as to date in this band, a year older than the last Johnny Lawrence, not including the life that I have with my daughter and him and his wonderful mother. So, you know what? That's enough about that.
Back to Ozzy's butthole was just to get his blood up.
It was. They were trying to give me a
Yeah.
But I love people that I thought were friends. And you know what? They really never were. They never were friends. Because I'm going to be straight up with you. If I made $3,000 at a show, each one of those people got 20%. I only took 40%. I never took half, even though I owned it. Okay? When I hired those Nashville guys, they're used to $50 a night a show. And when I would hand them $1,200, they were like, "Oh my God, man, this is the most I ever made." And then that was the basis. And then 2 years later, it's like, I need more money. I need to say it right. You know, it's like they just get used to it and they start getting greedy. And then they start trying to take control, getting credit. And you know what? I'm one that took a child and put him up higher than myself because he had a dream and I got walked on. I never got thanked. I never got any recognition when he did. It was all about him. And it's just sad that people are like that, you know? We should all lift each other up. And that's the end of that story. On to bigger and better things. In the process of booking a Cancun, Mexico show several days at a festival with Vince Neil and several other top names, which I'm very excited about. You know, things are just really looking good. You know, I just began writing a book. It's going to be great. It's going to be an autobiography on my life and how much I've done and been through. And, you know, it's just going to be great. And I got the kid in my life right here. He's recording a CD right now with Bill Leverty from Firehouse. And when you hear his music, oh my God. It's just, I mean, I've literally, and my family and I have cried at some of his music. It's so beautiful. And so, you know what? Those that see good, and you're always going to prevail. You know, and that's what I believe.
Okay, well, that's one good story there, Little Ozzy. I'm glad that you shared that with us. And how long have you and Johnny really known each other? Is it just recently, or have you been a long time friend?
Remember? Yeah. Now his mother and I we were friends since 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
all of our lives pretty much, and we kept in touch kind of. But last Thanksgiving is when we really kind of started hanging out, you know. We brought a band down to Virginia Beach to do a show, and his band opened for us, and we've been best or better, and really, really nice now.
Yeah, that's a lot of better, son.
And I some people in the world, when they see a little guy like me living the life, they just can't stand it. But you know what? You gotta get used to it, mate. Oh, yeah.
Well, we're just getting ready to do a song. As a matter of fact, you just recorded this, or in the process of recording this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the song? If there's a story behind it, or if it is a Ozzy song, maybe you can tell me.
It's going to be him playing the classical piece D.
Okay.
About a romance. And the cool thing about this is we want you to see the candles and stuff, because I'm now offering an unplugged, intimate evening with Little Ozzy featuring Johnny Lawrence on guitar. It's about half price. And it's also very cool because we're doing a lot of obscure Sabbath hits. We're doing like After and Forever. What else are we doing?
We're doing a lot of the Sabbath stuff, so we're doing probably, like War Pigs and stuff, and just taking it down a notch. More of This World, stuff like that.
We're doing some cool stuff, and we're still doing some Ozzy hits, but I'm actually sharing a lot of stories and good things, not bad things that happened in the past, but good things that happened, and meeting Ozzy, meeting Sharon, the world against you when you're little. It's hard, It was a show, little people in a big world. It's true. It can be rough sometimes, but you know what? If you believe in your dream, man, you can make it happen, because it's amazing. It's amazing.
Amen.
Okay. Well, we'll be watching that in just a moment here, but I just want to let you know I think that's all we really have time for right now. But we do appreciate you, Little Ozzy, coming on the show and sharing that story with us. And as always,
There you go.
and as always, you're welcome to come back a third time. So we'll always have you back if you ever like to come back. So we'll go ahead and watch that video right now. Here's Little Ozzy right here on Paul Nash TV. Don't go away.
I've been the king, I've been the clown. Now broken wings can't hold me down. I'm free again. The jester with the broken crown. It won't be me this time around to love in vain.